Hey everyone, welcome to this video about setting up your Bubble app for the first time. So when you sign up for a Bubble account and you get everything set up, basically you just create an app for the first time, you are given this boilerplate view. And what I want to point out in this video is that you right away are prompted with this one issue to input some Google Map API keys. So it's a small setup hurdle to get past. And what this will allow you to do though is use any of Google's Maps API services, very popular to use for apps. So that is why, and because it requires an external API in Google, Bubble wants you to set up your own stuff so that you have your own thing connected to it. So when you can still develop, but once you hit this button to go live, to deploy your app live, you will not be able to do that until taking care of this. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. So as you see, the screen changed. I clicked on this and it brought me over to this area where you're directed to put in these API keys. So to do that, head over to console.cloud.google.com. This URL, it might change. This is June 2021 that this is being recorded. It might change at a later point, but what you're going to want to do is set up some API keys. So to start with that, we're going to want to first, so that is the Getting Started tab. We're going to want to create a new project. So head to the Home button on this dashboard, hit Create New Project, and then just name it. So in this particular case, I'm building a course for an app that is very like the popular dating app, Tinder, and mine is called Zinder, and I'm going to create that. So with this project created, I'm going to head over to the library page. Okay, looks like it is created. First, the API and services, and then library within that. And here on the API library page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for geocoding. Open that in a new tab. We'll also want this maps one. We'll want something called Places, Google Places, which has all of the businesses and millions and millions and millions of places in the world. So you want this Places API. You will want something called the Apps JavaScript API. And finally, a time zone API. And getting all of these going, what I'm going to do, basically, just wanted to have them all open so you can see the process. Just click Enable. Let's see, this one failed to load. We'll give that another try. So we've enabled time zone. We've enabled the Maps JavaScript API. And now over to geocoding, Places API. And lastly, the Maps. No, we already did the JavaScript one. What did we miss here? Time zone, Places. Let's see, geolocation. There's geocoding and geolocation. So let's see what it is that we actually have here. Bear with the video for a moment. Or internet connection. Okay. So let's see. We have the geocoding one, so it's a geolocations one that we need. So I'm going to go back to our search here. I'm just going to close some of these ones down. We already have enabled this JavaScript one, the Places one, the JavaScript one again. And geolocation. Okay. So we'll enable our final of the 5 APIs. And then an additional step that you'll want to take now that those are set up is, in order for these to start working, you will need a billing account associated with your Google account. And it's better if it's a Google account that you are an admin of, that you totally own, not it's like you're part of an organization, you don't have total admin rights. That probably not be the account to do this in. So just a regular Gmail account will work fine that you have access to. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause this video and then enter my billing details and then get back with everyone here. Okay, so now that I've got my billing information inputted into the billing area, what I want to do before going back to our API keys and activating those and then getting them over into Bubble, there's a little bit of setup, but it will be worth it because in order to use, there's a whole chain of things. In order to use Bubble and publish things on there, you need your own Google API key. In order to have a Google API key, you need to enter billing stuff. But when you enter billing stuff, you expose yourself to Google's ways of payment. And let's be honest, Google as a publicly traded company with interest of its investors on the stock exchange is a priority for it. How does that affect you? Well, your credit card is now part of that economy. So I want to point out that if you check out this URL, cloud.google.com/maps platform /pricing, this is where everything that we're setting up here today relates to. I think this stuff is super like difficult to understand, not easy. It's not clear. So when you've never done anything with apps before, and you're like, what is all this stuff, and what exactly am I paying for? So I hope to clear that up with this quick, 1 minute overview of this as part of this video. So when your app has let's find, this is a pretty good one here, right? Like a lot of apps, they might allow somebody to search for something because you're looking for things near you, right? So every 1,000 people that do a autocomplete search in your app, Google's going to charge $17. Now that is not $17 right away. There is a $200 minimum threshold that you have to pass. So you're like, your first $200 are free. It's kind of a freemium model. It's how they work. But anyways, just take note that these are the prices, but I won't worry about that, because what I'm going to show you next is that if we go back into our billing account, you'll want to come here to budgets and alerts, because we're going to set up something so that let's create a budget, avoid surprises. That's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to call this this particular project related to this one, but you might be following one of my videos that talks about a different app that's being built, but this setup is the same for all of them. So we want this project. Say select all. Anything that would happen or could be charged in this account, we do not want that to happen, because unless you do, right? Like if you have an app that people are paying for and you've got a business and sorry, if you get your monetization and your business model set up, of course, yeah, like bring on the people, right? Because then you're earning more money. But in this early stages, we are just building something, right? We're kind of testing it out to the world, and we can stay under that $200 limit. If we can do that, that is what we want to do. So we're just going to come into here and we're going to set a target amount of $1. Let's see what they have for, yeah, so that's $1 per month. So that is what we're going to go with. And then we want to get alerts when that is passed. So basically, when that $200 mark of the first free $200 is passed, we'll be set up here with these alerts. Now, these alerts, they only are alerts. They do not actually stop the flow of usage on your app and on your API. So email alerts sounds good. So we're going to finish here. And then we will actually set up something that will put a quota on to, and so what I would refer to, I'll just refer these extra videos that the Google Maps platform puts out related to Google Maps. So here's a video about budgets if you wanted to look. Here's a video about quotas. So you can just note this URL or note this title, search that in at your leisure, and then back over, just going to close out some of these other tabs and back over on our billing page. So we've added a budget with alerts. And then what I want to do is I want to take us to our API section where we will create our APIs. Our APIs are created, but we want to create credentials for them. So browse API services, credentials, and can close out anything else that is unnecessary. So we're going to hit create credentials and API key, and we're going to restrict that when it's created. We are going to rename this one client. This is important because these are the keys that will go into Bubble. We want to restrict that by API refers for the client key. Yes. And what does that mean? Well, if you go to your Bubble installation and then you click preview, it will show you your URL. So you just want to grab this first part up to bubbleapps.io. And then we can close that out. And then we want to add this as an item. And what this is saying is, please restrict Google. Don't let anyone else use this API key on some other URL, like some other website. If they found your API key, they could start, because it's connected to your credit card after all, they could start, utilizing your quotas, your stuff tied to your credit card. So we say, okay, only do it here. So that's great. Let's see, why did it throw that? I think we want a slash there. Okay. So note to have that exact, and what the wildcard does just says anything that comes after that slash, accept it, which means anything that's going to be on our domain. And then when you publish this live and when you get a domain of your own, let's say, my super great awesome business.com, you'll come back here and you would update that, but we'll do that in a later video if you follow along through some of these courses to launch your app to the very end. So great, hit save, and then we're going to do it again for an API key, and then we're going to restrict this API key. We are going to select the name and put it as server. And then down here under API restrictions, say restrict keys. And then, boy, oh boy, we want. May take up 5 minutes. Let's go back. Just going to check out our dashboard. We should have a set of 5 APIs enabled. And we'll see what's happening. Service usage cloud. All right, well, some of these ones, I'm going to pause, be back, and figure out what I expected to have happen here is that our five APIs that we had enabled would be listed here. So let me take a look. All right, folks, so I'm back. All I did is I went back and retraced steps to what we had done before. And I reloaded these time zone, geocoding, etc. APIs. And it's odd because they have been clicked enabled prior, but maybe I closed out the windows. And that, so let's see. We're just going to wait and watch this one go all the way through. Enabled APIs, geocoding API. Okay, time zone. So that could have been a mistake. So you want to double check that within this console.cloud.google.com/Google/map APIs, maps-APIs, /API-list, and then let's go here without that parameter on it, and let's see what we get. Because basically, all you want to check is that you get to this maps area, and your enabled APIs list the APIs we just turned on. And this one does. So that might have been it. It's just closing those tabs prior to it being able to open up. Okay, great. And this, remember, this was the one that was the one without anything in the URL. So if you had just found this URL and gone to it, you would end up here where it is automatically loading what appears to be the project name, and then we see our APIs. So great. Let's check credentials here. Now, okay, great. So it's in the midst of this creation process. This is a slightly different look. It's Google's dashboards for these areas. You can access this from either place as it would appear. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to come back into this, this is the area that we started on. And yeah, so just a couple different ways that Google has of displaying navigating to the same area, which I had not seen prior to making this video. So apologies, folks. So here we are. Google. All right. I then recommend, going over to this URL, console.cloud.google.com/Google/maps-APIs/credentials. And for whatever reason, being in this area and clicking edit to this server key, it gives us the options that we do want for restricting certain APIs, which are the time zone, the places API, the maps JavaScript API, and then there should be a geolocation or geocoding and a geolocation. So these 5, these are what we want to restrict because these are what will be going into our final step. Thank you for hanging out for this video. I hope that perhaps you had done it on 2x speed. So what we want to finish up now here is back on our issue where we plop in this Google geocode. What we want to do is take the server key, copy that, paste it, and then do the same with the client, copy that, paste it. So the server went into geocode API key and the client goes into the map API key. And then notice that this thing says no issues to fix this little box. And then up here, the top part went away. So great. That is how you set up these keys so that you can deploy your app. And then one final step. Let's take this step now and go to quotas because we want to set up quotas for these because we would prefer that, actually this is your call, but if I'm developing an app for the first time and I don't really have any users and I don't know how things will go with it, I would prefer if I do not have a monetization model set up. So all Google Maps platform APIs, that is correct. Please select an API from, okay. So we'll start with geocoding. Looks like we'll have to set up these individually. But I would prefer, if I do not have a business model set up for earning the money to come in when these are used, that I just go ahead and say, sorry, folks, the app's not working now, come back later. Because in the past, I have received hundreds of dollars of charges. So let your learn from my experience. So the geocoding API usage, so you can take a look at these, is charged, price per request, contact sales, so $5 for every 1,000. Okay, this kind of goes back to the other pricing page that we looked at before. So take a look at that. But basically, request per day, request per minute. So I think a request per day is a pretty good thing to set up a quota for. And what we should set this up for is you just click on limited. So what are we getting charged for here? And this geocoding one, I believe this is the API that takes a longitude and latitude and then converts it to a coordinates, or potentially so for example, if your application calculates the distances between two people, which it might, for example, we are using for the project, and one of the apps in the courses I have is a dating app where you have user A here and user B here. How do you calculate the distance between those two? You actually need the Cartesian coordinates, they call them, the longitude, latitude things on a map, right? And then they calculate that with some fancy math. But to go from an address of 5055, Smithway Lane, to whatever 2025 Mapleway Lane, then how do you calculate the distance between those two? You actually have to use this, and the Google Maps thing that everyone is used to takes care of this for you without you having to think about it. But when you are building an app for users yourself, we do have to think about it, unfortunately. So remember, we have $200 to spend, and that would be how many thousands of units? That would be 20, 40. So we can spend 40 times $5 would be the $200. So 40, that would be 40,000 requests that we can make. So that's quite a bit of 40,000. And we have 5 of these APIs. So maybe we want like a little less than 10,000, call it 8. Yeah, that's exactly on. 8,000. Thanks for bearing with this mental math. 8,000 divided by 30, call it 8,000. 800 divided by 3. So like if we put it 250, then we are safe. So if we have more than 250 users per day calculating, or someone changing their location distance from users that they would potentially match with, that is something. Let's see. Yes, we will confirm that we are okay with reducing it so drastically. And again, super easy to come back into here at a later time. I just want to make sure that everyone is set up with a way that can get their app out into the world without having to be exposed to potentially paying money to Google to do so when they have a generous $200 limit, and make the most of that limit. So we're gonna put these quotas on here. And I will admit, I can see some folks potentially asking in the back of their minds, if you have 250 for each of these, is that 750? And it is. So basically, I think the most comfortable way to do this is to come and look at your app's particular usage over a 30-day period. And what this will do is this will limit the, let's go ahead and just change these all to, I guess it would be 80 would be 240. And we're going with 250. So we'll do it like that. Dun, 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 dun. And finally, the premium requests. So super thorough. You all are rock stars. If you have hung into this video for this long, way to go, because you're set up. Like, you don't have to worry. You know what I mean? You can just call it good. So, and know that, okay, I had to enter my credit card in for this complicated service that might not be the most easy to understand. Okay, so we've done it for 3 of those. That's geocoding, geolocation. And the great thing about this, so we've budgeted 250 for each of these, of the 5. Like we did with the last one. The last one was broken down into 3. This one only has 1, so we'll put it at 250, and that takes care of that geolocation API. Our maps JavaScript one. This is what like loads the maps themselves. When if you had a map like an app like Airbnb, for example, or an app like Uber, where an actual map is loaded where the user visibly sees it. But I was about to say the great thing as we finish this off, and hope you're on 2x speed, because we're just kind of cruising through these things. So to the 4th one. So 250 divided by 4, it's going to be 60-ish. But after you monitor some usage in your app, you can determine where to best get your $200 per month of free usage. So if you are not using any premium plan service requests, or if you are only using premium plan service request, then you can budget accordingly and try and get the most usage for your users until you're found a great monetization scheme, and then bring on the users. This stuff doesn't matter. We got money going, flowing. But until then, take the path of least spending for your entrepreneurial journey. Or let's just say most efficiencies, because you will spend as an investment into your business, of course. Great places. Time zone, our last one here. And we have nailed it. Okay, so with that, you are now set up with API keys in your new Bubble account. You've added your billing to the Google Cloud Platform, which is a required step for generating active API keys that will actually work for your application. And then we limited your exposure to any potential charges as you get your stuff up and running. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.